Hi there, Suzanne here. Are you ready to go? Hi, Kathy Jo. Just getting a couple of things set up here. Are we all alone? That's not a good sign. So it's the end of February. Where did February go? It's actually going out like a lamb here. Let's hope March doesn't come in like a lion. Okay, I'm going to sit down. Please tell me I have the right time. Yeah, I do. Hi, Judy. Abbotsford, all right. Not so far away. Now I'm going to sit down and see if I can find this on the iPad. There it is. Has everybody had a busy week? Okay, let's go. Chunk! It's time to start. Ta-da! Hello and welcome, and thanks for coming. Taking time out of your day. Hi, Kathy. Hey, Robin and Yogi. So I'm Suzanne, if you haven't been before, and I'm a calligrapher. And what we're doing today is not really anything to do with calligraphy. So is everybody ready for March? Fresh start. 31 shopping days. Woohoo! Okay, well, that's enough of an intro. I should mention that you're on the Quietfire Design Facebook page, and welcome. And oh, the cat's arrived too. You might hear him meowing in the background. He was sleeping quietly upstairs, and I thought, oh, good. However, things change. Okay, so Quietfire Creations is our blog, and Kathy Jo was on the blog today with a gorgeous creation. Oh, Kathy, laser eye surgery. Oh, I hope that's all fixed. My husband's been through that, and he was, they fixed him up well, so hopefully everything goes really well for you. We have a newsletter. You can sign up for that. There's the sign up box on the first page, on the home page of the Quietfire Design website. Blog I mentioned. We have the Suzanne Cannon fan group now, which is a group of, oh yes, Robin, digital, Quietfire Digital too. Yes, there's more than one blog. I think most of the people that are watching are probably die cutters, so they could be. A lot of the techniques will work with digital stuff. And there is a new category on the Quietfire site, and that is Letters Live. And it is for items that I carry on my website that I have used in this broadcast or one of the other Facebook Live broadcasts. And keep in mind, when you go there, prices are in Canadian dollars. So if you're from the US, you might go, whoa, that seems awfully high. Well, look at it as you get about a 25% discount when you pay. So, and you can also get a lot of these at Elizabeth Craft Designs, of course. Okay, you're wondering what we're making today. We are making a cover for a little journal. And what we're going to do with the background is we're going to create this repeating pattern. And it's great. You can use it for all sorts of things. It doesn't have to be just a journal cover. But I thought this was kind of nice with the garden notes. And now everybody's going to have a different journal. You're not going to get this one. This was one my husband gifted to me, and this actually isn't even stuck down yet. But I went for colors that matched the book. But I mean, it's totally up to you what you do with your little cover. Okay. What we're going to do is this, and it's called a half drop repeating pattern, and pattern makers use these all the time. I've become a watcher of patterns. You can see it in rugs, you can see it in fabrics, and it's it's really fun to look for that repeating pattern, and there and there and there. Sometimes it's really obvious, sometimes it's not so obvious. Sometimes it's really hard to distinguish. Okay, the dyes we're using today are my garden flowers, but we're only using garden. Here, I'll put the garden, the cover there. The garden, only using the garden. We're also using notes. And then we're using these calligraphic floral elements in the Where Flowers Bloom collection. Now, this is a set of these calligraphic elements plus 3 quotes, and it was Susan Tierney Coburn that gave me these quotes, and she wanted them done, so that's where they came from. Okay, and the stamping we're going to do with VersaMagic, and this is turquoise gem, and I use this a lot. It's one of my faves. We're going to use a transparency, but I'll tell you more about that later. And we're going to use, this is American Crafts smooth cardstock, and they're called Crimson. So that's what I did. Oh, there's the dies with garden and notes. And then I thought, let's do something different for the flourish underneath. So I use, this is Basil Navajo. Now the background that I use, this is, oh, you can see I actually stamped on there. I was experimenting to see, I didn't want something that was too strong that would overpower the die cuts. So I went with the American Crafts Smooth Craft and the Smooth Crimson and the Basil Navajo. So the other thing you're going to want is the notebook, and it's whatever notebook you're comfortable with. And if you want a lined one, you can get, my favorite right now is a dot grid. This one comes with a little pen on the side, and it's spiral bound, so it'll open flat. I like that. I'm not particularly keen on the recycled little thing here, but oh well. It was free. So grab a notebook that you think you might want to write garden notes in, or give to someone that you think would write in one. The other thing we're going to use is important, and it is the Elizabeth Craft Designs clear double-sided adhesive, and these are the sheets. And I'm not going to use glue dots today because this is on a book cover. I really want it to stick down. I don't want it to be lifting up. It's going to get used a lot, and it's going to get rubbed and thrown around, and it's not like a card that will probably get opened up and sat on a table or a mantle and admired there. This is actually going to get used. So this stuff is super sticky. So that's what we want. Also, we're not going to do anything. I mean, garden notes, it'd be awesome to put some of Susan Tierney Coburn's flowers on it, but then it gets dimensional, and as soon as you open the cover, it's going to smush those poor little flowers. So we're going to stick to flat. So that's the sheets of the sticky. The T-square we're going to use later, and that's my usual tool for making sure that the die cut words are straight on the project. And the rest of the stuff I can probably talk about as we go. You're going to want a stamp platform. Now, just got to pull that over. This one is the Tim Holtz one. Misty also makes one, and my Misty wouldn't be big enough to do this. The reason I like this platform is because it has an open side. So you're not restricted by the size of the paper you work with. Okay, that's important. So the first thing that you're going to do, I'm just going to leave that there. The first thing that you're going to do is take a piece of the crimson cardstock, and you're going to put the double-sided adhesive on the back. Turn it over. Put your garden notes on it, and you're going to run it through your die cutting machine. And you might want to go forward and then back it up again. And then you'll have pieces with the adhesive on the back. So these will be all ready. Once I take that release paper off, these will be all ready to go on the book cover, and they will stick. It's a bit nerve-wracking for me to do that. And I did the same with the flourish. This is the flourish from the, no, I didn't bring that out, did I? The flourished frame. This is the little flourish that comes with it. And I also put adhesive on the back of that. So it's all ready to go too. So let's put those over to the side and out of the way. Because when you open up this, the stamping platform, it kind of takes up some room. Hi Marlene, thanks for coming. So we've die cut those, and I've told you why we're not using glue dots this week. And we don't want any dimension on the front of the card. We're not doing a card. No dimension on the front of the journal. So the first thing we're going to do with the cardstock, and this is going to be different for every one of the books that you use. What you want is a piece of, now I can take this elastic, it can sit behind. This is kind of nice because it has this nice red book cloth on it. You want a piece of cardstock that doesn't come really close to the coils. But you want it a bit longer, because what we're going to do is we're going to kind of bleed the pattern off, and you can see that in this one it bleeds off the top and the bottom. So really you could make this, you could keep going. Okay. Now, so a piece of cardstock for the cover that's not quite as wide as the cover, but a bit longer, maybe an inch at most. That's all you need to do. Okay, so then you're going to take your platform, stamping platform, and let me tell you, I don't know how I survived without a stamping platform. Thank goodness they have stamping platforms, because I am not a stamper. I never got the feel for, probably because I didn't do it enough, the feel for if you stamp it like, have I got enough pressure, too much pressure, did I ink it up? You know, this removes all that doubt. I can re-stamp in exactly the same place if I need to. So what I did was I have this, just a piece of grid paper, graph paper, and that just kind of helps me sometimes get things straight. This is a transparency that I've cut down to fit this. I think it's probably 8 inches, 8.5 inches square. And I put a piece of washi tape on the side, and it just allows me to hinge it out of the way. And this is how I can check things. Alrighty. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is, I've got my stamps here ready to go. I'm going to lift up my transparency and I'm going to put this down. And I'm going to butt it right into the corner. And I'll just lift, this is, ooh, these magnets are so strong. And just put it there. And I'm going to take, I think I'm going to have to, oh no, I can leave it where it is. And one by one, I'm going to place down these stamps, these flourished, they're not flourished really, they're just calligraphic arches and shapes. They're floral elements. And I'm going to put them so that they come just right near the top. Remember, this is longer. We can trim the bottom and trim the top. And we're going to line them up and do this one right on the, don't pull it straight. We want it to have a nice curve. Sort of line them up in a row, making an evenly spaced pattern. Now, a regular pattern would have the next row, I have 3 more elements here, the next row right underneath. But it looks way more interesting if you offset them. And that's called a half drop pattern. Or if you're using Illustrator, it's called brick by row. And I have the worst time, I want to call it half drop brick. And it's probably called that somewhere. But okay, so there's not really any rules for this. But I think overlapping them makes a bit more dense a pattern. So by overlapping, I mean instead of putting it down here where this row isn't overlapping, I might move that up a little bit. Instead of overlapping, it's clear, and that leaves a much more spaced out pattern, and that's totally acceptable. You can do that if you want, but I want it, because it's a small space, I think I want these to overlap a bit. And this one is going to go, you know what, let's take this and put it over here, and then this one has a little curve that kind of matches that curve. Now, of course, if I stamp this is going to be right off the edge. Oh, you know what I'm doing? And I knew I was going to do this. These are all the wrong way around. You want to put these face down. I've been putting them face up. See, I told you I'm not a stamper. Wanda, are you out there? Wanda, you are. See, I tell you I'm not a stamper. This proves it. Okay, there we go. We just have to turn all these over, and you're going, yeah, Suzanne, you need remedial lessons in stamping. Huh? There we go. You know, when you guys weren't here, I did this just fine without any problem. Okay, put those away. I think this is going to come down a little bit. Okay, I can live with that. Now I'm going to move this out of the way, put it down here, and that's a little low, huh? They don't have to be perfect. Nobody will ever know. But I'm going to flip this over, and I have this on the clear side of the stamp platform, and I'm going to pick up all those, oh, those stamps. Of course, I didn't move this little piece of acetate out of the way, but it's fine now. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is just ink these up. And that's the Versamagic turquoise gem. And the acetate is down here. This is the transparency, rather. And I'm going to just stamp that. And it's stamped on the transparency. So let's just move this piece of craft paper that I'm ultimately going to stamp on right there. And so I'm sort of looking at the distance between here and going, yep, that's pretty much centered. So I'm going to lift the acetate and put the magnet down to hold that paper in place. Transparency goes out of the way, and I'm going to ink up. Getting a lot of reflection off that light, aren't we? Sorry about that. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to press down on there. And there we have it. Okay, nice. Now, in theory, you might want to let that dry for a little bit, but you guys don't want to sit here and watch ink dry. So that's the transparency back and front. Now, all I'm going to do is move this up so it overlaps approximately the same. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you see where that's going to come in there. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some more ink to these little floral elements. And over we go. And we're going to do it again. Move that up. Bring this back to have a look at how far up we should go. I'm running out of, I'm going to have to move this down a bit. I hope you can see all right. You sort of get the idea by now, I think. And then you want to line that up. And that looks good. And you can eyeball this. You're good enough to eyeball it. Push that back. Ink up the stamps again. I mean, you can do this with all sorts of things. Oops. The only thing is you've got to watch where you're... No, that's not going to work either. Okay, let's put it right there. And press down. Yeah. And then you know what? I'm going to go even farther just to make sure. Let's ink that up. I'm going to move my stamping platform down a little bit more because I can't push my paper up anymore without moving the platform down. Okay, let's put this back over. Nope, we got to go way farther. There. I think I might need to push that. You can keep your eye on the one above and sort of line things up with that. And then that would be good. And you can put a guard sheet down there if you want. You know what I'm going to do? Oh, no. I'm going to move that to there. Oh, no. I should move it right over top of something because I know that there won't be a stamp right there. And then we're... Oh, the only thing is then, it comes into the edge of the... Yes, I am not a stamper. Okay, I'm going to wing it because I know it'll work. It just might pull up a bit. Yeah, see, that's what happens. But it worked just fine. And there we have it. That's how you do a half drop repeating pattern. And it's that easy. That's it. We can go home now. Well, not quite. Let's not do that. So you probably want to let that dry before you go ahead and add the words. I can do it with, that's the other one, with this one. And let me just check and see if I've trimmed that. Actually, this is too short, this one. This was a test one. Oh well, let's use this one. And what I would do with this is stick it inside the book, put the cover on, make sure it's straight, and then just use a pencil to draw a line. And do I have my cutter here? No, I don't have my cutter here. So we'll use the good old scissors. Now, if I was using all my usual tools, I'd use my guillotine cutter, which is really accurate. Gives a good 90-degree. There we go. Oh, it's still a little long. However, for the sake of demonstration, this will do. So we want garden notes. And notes, okay. And put them nice and close. Don't spread them out. If you start spreading things out, let me just show you. It becomes, you lose it. It falls apart as a design. So munch these up nice and close. They don't have to overlap. I don't mind them overlapping. They're just fine together. But just don't spread them out all over. And I did have to play around a bit. I was a bit worried about the color and the design overpowering the words, but I don't think it did. So I'm just going to put a little mark there because that's where I want the bottom, the baseline for garden to be. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy T-square, put it down, and run a really light baseline across there. This is the baseline for the words. In particular, garden. Now make sure you get these down in the right order. Don't put notes down first. Now, if you're really worried and you're worried about getting that centered, well, you could put like a tiny little dot right there. Because sometimes when you get the release paper off the back, especially me, you're a little worried about where that's going to go. So I'm just taking the release paper off the back. This is not forgiving. And you might want to use tweezers. Just so your big fingers aren't in the way. Then when you put this down, put the G on the baseline, and you might want to cover up that little dot that I made. I don't know if you can see that. And put one part down, just a tiny little bit of the whole thing, and then lay the rest down along the baseline. Then you know it's straight and it's centered. Et voila, nice, huh? Yay. Now, of course, you've got that line in there, and my favorite way to get rid of that is to use the Tombow Mono Eraser with the little tip on it. And you can just go in there and into little spaces and get rid of the line. And you can do that for all of them. Where's my little brush? There we go. So you get the idea there. Oh, let's get rid of that because that's not going to go away. There we go. Then notes. Well, you know, if you're good, you can just put that right down underneath, and you don't, because this is lined up, you probably do okay with this. Do you want to see this done too? You want to see me screw up? I won't. This isn't stamping. I'm more likely to do it right. And often if you're doing this, put it straight in front of you, just like you were lettering, and stand up. And if you put that there, and of course I've got the camera in the way right above me, right above where I'm trying to line this up. And then just see how nicely that goes down. And yeah, I think I would want to go back in there with the eraser and get rid of those. And then the last thing is the flourish. And see, I kind of hoped that I was going to make a mess somewhere, because then I could have pulled it off with my undo. Yeah. And then just pop that up, pop that under there. And because notes doesn't have a flourish underneath it, a lot of my words do, to brace them and hold them together, but notes doesn't. So you can put that nice flourish underneath. And I mean, if you've got a book that was garden colors, then you could go with all the regular garden colors. I was sort of looking at floral colors and of course trying to go with the book I was using. And there, that's, I don't think I have anything else to tell you about. That's pretty much that. Erase the line. Now, putting this on the front, you're going to use a sheet of the clear double-sided adhesive. And that will stick, and you won't have any problems with it. You want to trim this so it fits perfectly. And then it's good to go, and it's cute, right? Tell me it's cute. Nobody said it's cute yet. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. Now, you do have, from that stamp set, you do have some quotes. So you could go into this little book and you could stamp the quotes in here. Now, I would probably do it down in the right-hand corner, but this notebook is going to be a bit of a problem because of this big recycle icon. But yeah, you can, and I have other floral quote stamps with Elizabeth Craft Designs, and you can use those throughout. So you could make a really wonderful, wonderful little gift for somebody, or something special for yourself, and it's really not too much of a problem. It's not a problem at all, and it doesn't take very long. And so again, this is a half drop pattern. So we had one line up here. Let me get the one that hasn't got the words on it. One line up here, and then we offset the second line and put it in between. And then went back, moved the paper down, stamped again. And by having that many elements, it makes it easier. If you only had 3 elements, then you'd probably want to put them in the center of the stamp platform, and then you'd be working back and forth every time you dropped. But that's doable. So there's lots of potential with doing a brick by row or a half drop pattern as a background. And you know what? A lot of your pattern papers, have a look at them. A lot of the designer papers will be designed exactly like this, so you can make your own designer paper now in whatever colors you want. How's that? Any questions? I don't really have any more to add. So thanks for coming. I'm just waiting to see if there's any questions. I think we're pretty quiet here. Oh, I see a heart floating up. Thank you. So don't forget to check into into Quietfire Creations, the blog. And also, Wanda was on Elizabeth Craft Designs yesterday with the butterfly spray and a quote. And it's very cool what she did with it. Go have a look at her technique. Okay, well, thanks again for coming. I have one more thing I'm going to leave you with. Because it's the end of the month, we can say bye. Bye.